Tabletop Time has never been a fantastic business. This is something we've received criticism for, but it has always been a fantastic, wonderful workplace full of cool, creative people making cool stuff. In this video, I'm going to go through sort of where we're at right now and talk about some permanent changes to the channel. Despite the somber nature of what this video is going to go into, it's kind of impossible for me not to just be smiling and beaming when I talk about the fact that I have a little baby. Jen and the baby are doing really well. So we had our firstborn son. I have a baby boy. It was unexpected. He came 3 weeks early, so we've definitely been super unprepared. Everything with Tabletop Time was thrown into disarray. I've been just out of action for a while. We saw all of your lovely comments, so thank you so much to everyone who was just, sending us well wishes, congratulations, and the sort. Having said that, I think the reason most of you are here is to hear some juicy gossip. It's time to do an update. This isn't a clickbait video. There are some major changes happening. So the best place to start is to kind of talk about money. Talk about how Tabletop Time makes money, and we'll go from there. So how does a YouTube channel work, specifically Tabletop Time? Well, we make money through 3 main ways. Number 1 is views, which we get AdSense for. This is probably the smallest contributor. And over time, the area that Tabletop Time has dwindled in. It's no surprise our viewership is down, as are many channels' viewership's down. My gut feeling is that YouTube, when we started in the COVID boom, there were more viewers, a lot more active eyes. But I also think that the platform itself better supported channels that were a little bit eclectic. And that was always Tabletop Time. 1 minute we'd do a battle report, or we'd do a board build, or we'd convert Warhammer. And personally, my guess is that modern YouTube doesn't really support that as well as it did. It doesn't push those videos, and it kind of niches down channels. With that said, the next form of income is of course Patreon. Patreon support is sort of intrinsically connected to your viewers as well, because the more eyeballs on, the more percentage of people are willing to support you. This is probably the most stable and reliable source of income for most YouTubers, and it's what makes us able to go to sleep at night. So we really do love and appreciate patrons. The third source of income primarily is advertisers, also tied to your views. The more views you get, the more you can charge for a sponsorship, and that really can help. And some sponsors can be quite lucrative, and these paydays are super appreciated, but it's not consistent and you can't rely on it. Our fourth source of income is products. And that largely for us has been through campaigns, crowdfunding campaigns, where we did the Space Bears, and then we also did the Kindred of the Abyss, and we're about to do the Sisters of the Old Blood. So you've got a bit of a picture. Then we have costs, and the primary cost for us is labor. So I'm going to draw a little bit of a graph and it's going to illustrate the problem Tabletop Time has been in. So this red line is our baseline, and that represents effectively a break-even point. Our patron support, our AdSense, and our sponsors, all of them never really covering the costs of the payroll, the costs of all the staff. And all of those things bring us somewhere in here. So we come down from a boom time, the COVID times, where things are doing okay, our views are higher, and we're getting more money. So we're sitting sort of around here. And over time, that amount of income dwindles until we get to this dire position right near a break-even point where the company's losing money. We then do a big campaign, and this injects a whole bunch of money into the company, which is wonderful, but it doesn't change the underlying issue. You've got costs associated with fulfilling the campaign, but effectively what ends up happening is the funds just run out. And then we do our next crowdfunding campaign, and this one makes a little bit less money. Now, you don't know, maybe the next one will make more. I'm not assuming there's a trend like this, but this is just what happened. And then we continue to lose money and we go below break even. And then we have another campaign on the horizon. Well, look at that. You can sort of see a cycle here that's not sustainable. And the biggest problem is this period here on every campaign is exceedingly stressful. It applies a huge amount of work pressure stress to everyone who's working here. Everyone spends months knowing that their jobs are on the line. Basically, this pattern is unsustainable. So the only way to make this sustainable is we need to reduce the rate that this is declining. And in fact, we need to reduce it all the way until it's a straight line. So Tabletop Time has to make some really hard decisions, because ideally in any business, this line needs to be going up. But we're in a position where we don't have the time or resources to commit to making more money or changing the ways we operate, because we're constantly in this life support mode to try and preserve what we've currently got. The only way we can get out of this loop, this cycle that is never going to end well, is by making some big difficult changes. So we're making some big changes. As I mentioned, Tabletop Time has never been a particularly good business. And as I mentioned, it's been criticized for this in the past by people who kind of think businesses should only run to make a bunch of money. And if they're not achieving that, they're kind of failing. And in some metrics, you'd be correct. Then Tabletop Time's always been sort of failing. But I see Tabletop Time as it's always been Jazz's sort of patronage to the arts. He loves surrounding himself with creative, artistic people, and he's always maximized the company's ability to just hire more people and have more cool stuff happening. And that works really well when the economy is good, when times are booming, and you just get to surround yourself with awesome artists and help them eat. And that's exactly what Jazz has done. So from a profit-centric view, terrible plan, Jazza. Awful plan. But from a human-centric point of view, really good plan, So I'll always have a lot of respect for Jazza and Mrs. Jazza for the fact that they have enabled all the people on Tabletop Time to have the opportunities that we have, make sure that we're paid, make sure that we get superannuation, which Americans would think of their like 401k retirement funds, I think. We have sick leave, all of that. And it's all thanks to them making this company. Unfortunately, financial realities change. As I talked about with the graphs, you can see why the business model has been unsustainable. And with everything getting harder, things need to change. I was brought into a meeting when I returned from paternity leave that was very difficult, where I was asked a question. The question was, option 1, Tabletop Time closes. That's one option. What was option 2? Option 2 was you brush up on your editing skills, learn how to edit better, and basically your job becomes half making video, half editing videos. And alongside this change, we unfortunately can no longer support having our editor Vaughn. We have a few more videos, thankfully, coming out with Vaughn. His job's been made redundant, unfortunately, but you don't just get dumped and fired. Vaughn's got 3 weeks with us still. We still get to do the finale, but we're going to do the Sisters Battle Report as like a big send off and a goodbye, which is really cool. And Jen's going to come in with the baby. We're going to make it happen. We're going to make it work to film that. So that meeting, we also can no longer support 2 additional staff days. We had chats, and Jen basically decided that as a new mum, she's gone maternity leave until October and has her hands full with a baby, that for her, the reality is she can put her hand up and step back. If anyone can, it's her, was her feelings, as being a mum's very tough. She made that call that she would be allowing us to exist in this capacity, which reduces all our costs to the point where we're just breaking even and we can continue making YouTube videos. The business basically needs to become a solo YouTuber. And that's what the writing on the wall has been for a long time. This was a huge decision for me. One of the big tenets in my life, and a hugely important thing to me, that if I was to have a child, that I would be able to be present in their life as a father, and I wouldn't give away all of my free time to an employer, because I would hold some of that back for my family life. Part of this transition will mean I'll have to be someone who's crafting, editing, negotiating contracts, doing all the stuff with sponsors. They all do it themselves. That's very normal for channels of our size. We've been so lucky to not be in that situation. It does mean a sacrifice in that regard personally that I had to weigh up if I wanted to do that. The alternative, of course, being unemployed with a newborn, not a great alternative, I must confess as well. And it's going to continue with adjustments such that it isn't constantly losing money, which will bring a sense of stability and assurity and longevity that we have not had in a long time. So I said it also needed to basically become a solo YouTuber. Well, medium-sized channels are usually solo YouTubers, but they also often have someone else on. So I'm pleased to announce Murray will be staying on in the exact same capacity he currently is. So it's me and Murray. It's a tremendous loss. Both Vaughn, our editor, who's become part of our team working with us and we've loved working with for the past 2 years, and also Jen, who is my wife. And the biggest thing for me emotionally is, I've been truly privileged to be able to work with my wife. She's my best friend. We get along so well. And I don't think I realized how special it was to be able to work with my wife in this place doing creative stuff. And I already, even back now this last week, feel isolated from my partner in a way I've never felt before, which is, really bizarre. We've been together for like 14 years. Now, there is a perk to that, which is that Jen is my wife. Jen will be around. We'll see Jen. She'll cameo in videos. She might even do stuff here and there when she feels like it, when she's up to it. But the channel just can't afford to support this many staff. So as I said, this is a real announcement. These are permanent changes. We also didn't want to do like a begathon. We didn't want to do like a, hey guys, please support our Patreon now. Please support us so we can maintain this sort of like unsustainable work environment. We didn't want to do that. We have chosen to just tell you and make the changes now, because that's what's needed for long-term stability. But what I wanted to get at is we're about to do this campaign. And one of the reasons we had to do this update video, I hate that this is my first video back. This sucks. But the reason we chose to do that is because there was a no-win without telling you guys what was happening first. If the campaign had done really badly and we had then made this video in the middle of that sort of month campaign, it would have felt like souring the campaign with this negative thing. It also would have felt like a guilt trip that we're trying to apply on you guys to like give us money but the reality is, as we just discussed with the graphs, even if the campaign does it really, really well, it's still an inevitability that we can't sustain this constant loss of funds as a company. So look, there is a silver lining to the gray cloud, which is that we are resetting to a point of sustainability to ensure that if we can build from here, we're not starting from behind. Things can change in the future and they'll change for the better, hopefully, not the worse. Now, things could still get worse. We're going to break even now. We could lose a bunch of patrons, we could lose a bunch of support, we could continue to get worse and worse views. And then inevitably, it's still not gonna be sustainable. All things end. But we're hoping that by making the choice now to become a more sustainable YouTube channel that is more accurately and fairly resourced, and honestly, more of a peer in a weird way. I feel like after 6 years, I'm finally gonna get my stripes. Like if I can pull this off, if I can learn how to edit properly, get videos out, I'll be doing the work. I'll be doing it day in, day out. Maybe my peers might judge me differently, I don't know. Maybe that's just something I've had in the back of my head. But either way, that's what's happening. It's a huge update. Now, from here, I would like to ask for your help in something not financial, and that is, I'd love your support and feedback as we go forward. This is a huge change for me. You're gonna see a different side of me than you've ever seen. I'm gonna be more candid, more open, more genuine. I will have my own flavor in my edits, and I think that will become apparent. The flavor of Tabletop Time is gonna change because there's a new editor. And as someone who will be filming the videos and editing the videos, there'll be a whole different translation process that maybe will feel different as well, because I'll know what I'm filming, there'll be intentional filming and editing, but also there'll be a decline in quality. Probably, I don't know. Maybe I'll be amazing at this. I have done a little bit of editing. The point there is, please be gentle with me, kind encouragement, but suggestions are welcome. If you say something's not working in the edits or the levels are wrong on something, I'm gonna really do my best, and there will be quality control. I'm not saying I'm gonna start dumping garbage on the internet, but I'm just saying, please be gentle, have some consideration. You always generally do. And there will be further changes coming as we adapt into this new world. When I am doing this on my own, I'm probably gonna look at adjusting how we do Patreon in terms of I would like to add at least something that feels really community centric. We do our mini review, which is really cool. We also do our behind the scenes vlogs. I'd love to do stuff like a games night or streams or something like that, and get a little bit more, you know, enmeshed with everyone. It'll be cool. Lot to digest from this video. Thank you for watching it, everyone. If you do want to support the channel for the future, if you want to help build this new Tabletop Time and you want to get something for it, please support the Sisters of the Old Blood campaign that's coming out very soon, next week. Despite everything, we are really excited to see the Sisters of the Old Blood in people's hands, imagined just as we foresaw and planned as a team together. The link is down in the description below, and alongside that is the link to our Patreon. Know that for the past few years, every dollar that has been sent to the channel in support of us has gone to the staff. It has enabled us to continue working, to make these projects, and that's not changing. It would be amazingly reassuring to us to see that Patreon bolstered, so we knew that bedrock we're establishing in this new direction from the channel has a good foothold and strong support from the fans. We really do appreciate every one of you, and we've been really blessed to be able to do this as a job for as long as we have. Now, I am super excited to share with you all one really cool snippet is I can actually showcase the first ever view of a Sisters of the Old Blood heavy sister. So this is a warrior in a powered suit of armor. These are archaic suits of armor that all the panels of like sci-fi goodness have been long since replaced by blacksmith armor, but the power frame that gives extra strength and mobility is still the same technology from hundreds of years ago the sisters have salvaged from the ruins and venerate as great relics. We absolutely love these sisters, and they're going to be available in 2 squads as part of the campaign. Our regular troops, these elites with their ranged weaponry, and also some Cathedral Honor Guard And these ones are really cool. The links for that campaign will be down in the description alongside links to our Patreon. And also I did want anyone who is a backer of our campaigns to know that despite things like me going on paternity leave unexpectedly, sculptors taking longer than we would hope occasionally, everything we've promised in our campaigns is still being produced. It's not at risk. We have always kept the funds for the fulfillment of the project separate from our operating expenses. It just is taking longer than we want. We have never not delivered on something, full stop. We haven't canceled things. I have a list of every single thing that needs to be done. Unfortunately, a lot of the time the priority isn't here. My baby took precedence. I'm sorry, my baby took precedence. With that said, I hope you all are with us in the future. And look, it's going to be a bold new world. It's going to be big changes. I hope you like watching me and Murray do silly stuff. And yeah, we'll see you soon.